So one of the things I used to say all the time on stream was, if they're not going after Trump, they're going after Tucker. If they're not going after Tucker, they're going after DeSantis. If it's not DeSantis, it's Matt Gaetz, etc., etc. But that has really quickly turned into Tucker, DeSantis, Elon Musk, Trump. So here's one from Elon Musk and the BBC. This video was called, and by the way, if you want to see this video with no commentary, this isn't the place to watch it. This video was called, "You Just Lied. Elon Musk Slaughters BBC Reporter in Live Interview." Oh boy, I've seen a lot of buzz about this. Let's take a look.
Unless you allow people you don't like.
I'm gonna put it up to 1.25. I hope nobody minds.
To say things you don't like. Otherwise, it's irrelevant. And if at the point at which you...
And he is correct. That is the crux of free speech. It is speech protecting people saying things that you don't necessarily like. That is the most important thing.
lose free speech, it doesn't come back.
I think the issue some people have is that a lot of people were brought back. I mean, some people were brought back who were previously banned for spreading things like QAnon conspiracies. You have people like Andrew Tate who were brought back who were previously banned for things.
Oh yeah, people who were spreading QAnon conspiracies and Andrew Tate. But it's only because they were spreading right-wing conspiracies. People who propagated Russiagate or the Pokey Pokey, that stuff's all perfectly fine.
Things like hate speech. Do you think you prioritize freedom of
Can you define hate speech?
speech over
Here, let me replay that bit.
things like hate speech? Do you think you prioritize freedom of speech over misinformation and hate speech?
Yes. Yes. Not even a hesitation. Yes. Yes, I do.
Well, you know, who's to say that something is misinformation? Who's the arbiter of that? Is it the BBC?
You're literally asking me.
Yes.
He's shaking his head yes. And that is a good question. Because there have been things that we know factually are not true, yet we're still spread, i.e. Russiagate, i.e. you won't get hit if you get the hit.
Well, no, you are the arbiter on Twitter, because you own Twitter.
Yes, I'm saying, who is to say that one person's misinformation is another person's information? At the point at which you said that there is, this is misinformation, like, who is going to decide that?
You accept that misinformation can be dangerous, that it can cause real-world harms, that it can potentially cause...
Okay, but who is deciding what is or is not misinformation? That is what he's asking.
Yes, the point I'm trying to make is the BBC itself has, at times, published things that are false. Do you agree that that has occurred?
I'm quite sure the BBC have said things before that turn out to not be true.
Right.
So there you go. Is the BBC supposed to just be banned permanently ad infinitum because they uploaded or put out something that wasn't true? And before I know, all my shitlord people are going to be like, yes, no.
Whatever it is, 100-year history, I'm quite sure.
Yes. Even if you aspire to be accurate, there are times when you will not be.
We've spoken to people very recently who were involved in moderation, and they just say there's not enough people to police this stuff, particularly around hate.
Britain is so far gone that this guy is just casually talking about policing what people say. Like, no.
Hate speech in the company.
What hate speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter.
Right.
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
just a personal anecdote. Like, what do you do? I don't.
Personally, my for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content. Yeah, personally, but I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally?
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean? Describe a hateful thing.
Elon Musk is going at this perfectly. Is it stuff you don't like or is it actually hateful? Can you give me an example of something hateful and something that you just don't disagree with? He is going at this perfectly. And you can tell just by the look on this journalist's face. He is really stumped with this because he doesn't know. Is it something he just doesn't like or is it actually hateful content? Because it seems like a lot of these people have just conflated the two.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include...
That soliciting a reaction is not hateful.
Something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything.
Can you give me an example? And if that stuff is showing up on your For You feed, that's because that's the content you follow.
I'm
just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content. And I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't. Honestly, I
you
don't.
Can't name a single.
No, he cannot name a single example. Elon, you did not have to do this to this poor man.
For example,
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
You said
actually, a lot of people are quite similar. I only look
hang on a second. You said you've seen
following.
more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
well, then how did you see
Well, then how would you know if you're not looking at it?
the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen for you hateful content. And I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying...
Then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of...
Oh, really? He just got so mad that Elon said, no, well, you don't know what you're talking about. If you can't name a single thing, you're lying. Oh, really? I'm lying?
Hateful content, not even one tweet. And yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well...
That's false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
No, what I claimed was...
Oh, I absolutely adore when these journalists get their words shoved right back in their mouth. Because honestly, they kind of deserve it. Okay, not kind of. They definitely deserve it.
There are many organizations that say that that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my
Give me
feed
one
or
example.
not, I mean, right, and
Literally
you
can't
can
name
something
one.
like the Strategic Dialogue Institute.
It's real simple. Just give one example of the hateful content that you have seen that's on the rise, and you can't do it because it's probably not there.
In the UK, they will say that. So
Look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed.
God, this guy is just the poster child for all journalists anymore. It's bad. Okay, how? Because it is. All right, how? Fuck you.
But
Well, then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
Because he doesn't have one. Because he's just saying hateful content is on the rise to make Elon look bad. That's all it is. It's almost like he is actively lying.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know there's hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time.
Let's move on. You're making me look bad, and I don't like this topic. Shut up.
COVID misinformation. You changed the COVID misinformation.
Has BBC changed its COVID misinformation?
Well, what is COVID misinformation? Because forever, the president, Dr. Fauci, all these people, Trump said if you get the shot, you won't get infected, you won't test positive. But yet they still run with you need to get the thing for the thing. It's very interesting. I can't say too much because we're on YouTube, but it's just very interesting.
The BBC does not set the rules on Twitter, so I'm asking you.
No, I'm talking about the BBC's misinformation about COVID.
I'm literally asking you about you changed.
God. Elon, why? What do the comments say? Elon slaughtered this journalist by asking for an example. Just imagine getting an interview with Elon Musk for the sole purpose of making you look bad and he just destroys you. Yeah.
Change the labels, the COVID misinformation labels. There used to be a policy, and then it disappeared.
Because they were labeling stuff like side effects is misinformation.
Why do that?
Well, COVID is no longer an issue. Does the BBC hold itself at all responsible for misinformation regarding masking and side effects of vaccinations?
I didn't even think about the masking. I can't believe we did that as a society.
And not reporting on that at all? And what about the fact that the BBC was put under pressure by the British government to change its editorial policy? Are you aware of that?
This is not an interview about the BBC.
But you're talking about two platforms. It seems pretty one-to-one.
But it wasn't.
I see now why you've done Twitter Spaces. I am not a representative of the BBC's editorial policy. I want to make that clear. Let's talk about something else. We want to talk about the BBC. All right, let's talk about something else.
You weren't expecting that.
Oh, this poor journalist he didn't stand a chance. Elon did not have to go that hard on him, but I'm happy he did. More of these people need to get exposed, because if you really want to get into my deep-seated hatred for the news media, you got to come hang out on Tuesdays and Fridays. But God bless, these people need to get knocked down a peg or 52 million, because they just think they are untouchable, and they do not know how to react when somebody actually knows what they're talking about. But thank you for coming and spending a little bit of time with me. Please leave a like, leave a comment, all that stuff. Please make sure you're subscribed, as this is a new channel. And please consider becoming a patron. Thank you to all the patrons listed down below. Guys, have a lovely evening, and I'll see you all tonight, 5:30 on have a lovely day, and I will see you tonight at 5:30 for the AAA meeting right here. Set a timer.